Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and a big welcome to the stream today. We're going to talk about why it might be time to get out of some of these cities in the US. And I've been on a very interesting journey this afternoon researching a lot of these sanctuary cities in the US. And it's somewhat amazing what people can get away with in these cities and states. And a little tip, they all lean one way. I want to bring you up to speed on what actually happened over the last few days then. So I'm sure most of you will have seen this. This was this Venezuelan gang going around. In fact, I can play the video here, going around, going door to door, taking over this apartment complex where the police said it's a very difficult situation because of the sanctuary city status. So these gangs now have taken over entire apartment blocks and evicted the residents who were paying rent, or they've put new people in there. It is the most weird, bizarre situation. I don't even know where to start with all of this. So that happened a few days ago. So we're going to give context. We're going to move forward. Then we had this just occur, and this happened yesterday. And I want you to listen to this dialogue here.
First off, we're a sanctuary city. Even if it is legal here, we cannot call ICE.
Okay, but you still have to report that, right?
Okay, so he's saying this is a sanctuary city. This is a police officer. So we cannot do anything against this man because he's an undocumented migrant.
No, we don't. Because it's a sanctuary city. We do not report illegal, undocumented.
So you're going to let a person who went to prison, he committed a crime in America, who's illegal right now, you're going to let him go free right now to this elevator?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Because we're a sanctuary city. I've arrested a double homicide suspect in this city before and let him walk out the door because we're a sanctuary city. We're not going to call ICE to come pick him up and deport him.
Wow. I mean, this is... I mean, before we even carry on, because I've got to tell you what has just occurred today, I'm just amazed. I don't know how people can live in some of these US cities and states. If you are living in one of these cities, please tell me in the comments how. I can't even fathom how you could live in these places where, and some of the videos I can't even play, they're so shocking, of some of the crimes these gangs are committing and home invasions with, you know what, it's unbelievable. How is this even happening? And it gets even worse than this. But let me go forward to
Denver Mayor
play
Mike
this.
Johnson announcing new funding to help the migrant crisis, but it comes with cuts to many city services, including taking millions away from police. Alicia Acuna is live from Denver. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Dana.
Okay, this is not a joke, by the way, what they're talking about here, as in funding all of this and pulling the money away from police. It's the defund the police.
$4 million will be taken from the Denver police budget. This is to help fund a nearly $90 million aid package to address the city's migrant crisis. And as you mentioned, Denver Mike Johnson is trying to justify this plan, explaining it's a combination of capital cuts like...
I find this whole thing unbelievable that this is taking place. So this actually first started in Aurora the other day, which sits east of the Mile High City, has now reportedly become a base of operations for this notorious prison gang out of Venezuela, which has seized local apartment complexes and launched a wave of violent crime. The gang leader allegedly orchestrated the... In fact, I'm not going to read into all the nasty stuff that happened at one apartment complex and a massive shootout at another property. So this is from the New York Post, which is very left-leaning. So you know they're not going to make stuff like this up. They try and actually a lot of that sort of media tries to hide a lot of this stuff. And then we had this Colorado governor dismisses the migrant gang takeover as an imagination. And he was refusing to look at the video, saying, I don't need to see the video. This is an imagination. All these videos of all this taking place. It's super weird to me. Why? I mean, it's obvious what's going on. And we've got to keep moving on so I can bring you up to date of what happened. I'll show you this in a moment. So the city of Aurora made a statement on social media saying It's tragic that select individuals and entities have mischaracterized our city based on isolated incidents. We encourage you to build up our community and not allow the hysteria of others to tear it down. What? This is bizarre. And then we'll come on to this incident that just took place. This is a big one. But I was looking into this sanctuary city status, and it says in North America, a city whose municipal laws tend to protect unauthorized migrants from deportation or prosecution despite federal immigration law. So that then led me to look up, well, which are these sanctuary cities? And firstly, we'll look at this. This is from globalrefuge.org. They say the benefits of sanctuary cities. Communities across the country grapple with immigration issues. From a human rights standpoint, welcoming immigrants and providing them with resources and support will accomplish far more than detaining and deporting them ever will. This evidence shows that undocumented immigrants do not pose significant threats to communities, and they in fact positively impact them. Sanctuary cities report positive outcomes, including the following. The sanctuary cities have lower than average crime rates. Lower than average crime rates. That is, I've just looked at the data. That's not what's being said, but we'll talk about that in a second. Household incomes are higher. Okay, I'm not going to dispute that. I haven't looked at the data on that. The poverty rate in sanctuary cities is lower on average than cities without these policies. That, again, I am going to dispute that because that is not what the data is showing. So we've got this really bizarre kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's as if some of the people have completely lost their minds, but they're kind of, we've got to distinguish between migrants and also we've got to distinguish between the gangs, because what's happening, and I think it's pretty obvious, I'm sure everyone can see this by now, the gangs are infiltrating the caravans and everything else, and they're coming in and then they're establishing themselves and committing this massive wave of crime, these huge crime waves that we're seeing. But I think what's happening is the politicians don't want to kind of talk about the gang aspect of it, because if you talk about the gang aspect of it, the fact is they've come in illegally, that's going to be categorized with the other group of people who have come in illegally, but they're not committing crimes, although crossing the border is a crime in the first place, if you understand what I'm saying. So this is the challenging complexity of the situation. So I think that's why some of the governors and the mayors are saying, I don't know what you mean. What crime? What gang? No, there's no gangs. I haven't seen any of this. And you say, well, look at this video. And they say, no, I don't need to see the video because I don't know what that is. I don't know where it's come from. There's no gangs. There's no problems. It's bizarre. Now, this is the latest incident then that has just taken place. And this is in Chicago. In fact, sorry, did I show you where, and I did check this. Okay, so these are all the states that have sanctuary status. So I went through every single one of these states, every single one, and I looked at the voting record for the 2020 as well as the 2016 election. And every single one of these states is Democrat-heavy states. Look, I'm not trying to attack Democrats here, if some of you are Democrats watching, but that is the fact of the matter. All of these states lean Democrat, and that's somewhat interesting. And they're trying to deny the crime statistics, which I've looked at, I've overlapped it. So it's bizarre. It really is bizarre what's going on in the US. And if you're in the US, because I know a third of my subscribers are, please drop a comment below. So this is what we have then. A Venezuelan gang has taken over an entire apartment building. So this was the report. And we have the 911 dispatch call. If it's on here, I'll play it for you actually. And it said that 32 Venezuelan nationals took control of an apartment building. In the audio recording from Monday night, the caller says 32 Venezuelans are trespassing the building, showing guns in the courtyard, and they have motorcycles in the courtyard as well. They intimidated multiple residents and potentially succeeded in taking over the building. So it's said that they've taken over the building, they kicked the management out. But then when you actually listen to the police report, they say, no, that didn't happen. There's no evidence of it. It doesn't make sense.
Person with a gun, 6124 South King Drive. Caller says 32 Venezuelans are trespassing the building, showing guns in the courtyard, and they have motorcycles in the courtyard as well. Also, while they're filled, nothing further is unclear.
So this was it, and there was multiple calls that came in, but the police are saying, no, we went. But then the residents are saying the police arrived 2 hours later, at which point, I mean, it's 2 hours later. While the authenticity of the audio recording was confirmed by local authorities, they noted that law enforcement officials had not revealed what actions were taken by police or what the status of the apartment building was as of Tuesday morning. Information regarding any arrests or injuries sustained during the incident has also not been disclosed by Chicago officials. But why? This is the thing. Why are they not disclosing any information? So this comes a week. After last week, the gang took over and took control of parts of Aurora, Colorado. A video showed by Raw's Alerts reportedly showed an armed gang of Venezuelans taking full control of an apartment complex and parts of the town of Aurora. So we have this. This is from Zero Hedge as well. The caller further mentions that all the stairwells in the building are filled, creating a potential safety hazard. I'm sure they're probably not worried about a safety hazard from the stairwells being filled. I'd be more worried about those pointy, large black metal things. In response, officers were dispatched after receiving reports of a large group of immigrants allegedly armed and congesting in the courtyard. Upon arrival, officers conducted a search of the premises. However, according to officials, none of them were found. There was no weapons, no motorcycle, and no immediate threat was identified. Well, it doesn't make any sense. What is going on here? It is a bit like 1984, isn't it? Why did it take them 50 minutes to assign the call? And then why did it take 2 hours for them to get to the call? This is the question. Are they short-staffed? Have they been defunding the police and allocating the money elsewhere? Response time of nearly an hour. Well, actually, that's not what they're saying. They said it took nearly an hour to assign the call, and it took 2 hours for them to arrive. What the truth is, I can't tell you. All I can say is that if I were responding to 32 armed men, would I send, what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 6 officers there. They look really chill with their hands in their pockets. No, I wouldn't. Something doesn't add up about all of this. Officers showed up 2 hours after the call. You're a journalist. Why don't you go to the apartment complex and interview the residents to find out what they saw? Are you interested in the truth? I guess not. So this is what we're being told. And now we've got police in Denver are on the hunt. This has just come out as well a little while ago for 3 armed masked men caught on video stealing the motorcycle from a garage in a quiet neighborhood just down the street. So this is what they're calling it, Denverzuela, which isn't too far off. I just make sure there's no sound on here, but you can see here the security footage. This is what took place. You can see clearly here. Now, if this isn't a serious thing for everyone to be worried about, I really don't know what is. Because I tell you, I would not feel comfortable if that were my home. Not at all.
Venezuelan migrants and they're conducting crime in an organized
manner.
They're a problem.
So, okay, so you're able to confirm that this Venezuelan gang has indeed taken over at least some of the buildings. You're saying at least 2 of the 3. And what I just heard from you is you don't know how they ended up there. And you even made a suggestion that they could have been sent there by federal officials. I heard you suggest. Well, I mean, do you have any reason to believe that to be the case?
So here's the problem. I think we're a victim of a failed policy at the southern border because what you have, Venezuela does not, according to my law enforcement, Venezuela does not cooperate with the United States.
Now, I'll just tell you who this man is. I think he's the mayor. I think he's the mayor of Aurora. But there was another man they had on, and he was a border guard chief, and he was saying something similar to this. We've also had in kind of other news here. We've also had in the US that's just come out today. Pause Maria a second. Elon Musk and RFK claim Kamala wants to shut down X unless the site conforms to government oversight. So this is in relation to what she said a few years ago now, where she said that the sites have no oversight and regulation, and they need to have this oversight and regulation. And that's interesting because this is exactly what we saw with Telegram, where he was, the CEO was arrested in France. So now it looks like the same situation is coming up for X. And we've already seen Brazil has banned it. Another country as well banned X very recently. So it looks like there's this net tightening around social media platforms, which we kind of knew this was coming. We knew this was going to happen. But you just look and they're just ticking them off one by one. You got your Facebook and Instagram, or your Meta. You got now the TikTok that's gone through, all the courts. That's, they're getting rid of the TikTok aspect. You've got X now coming under the scrutiny. They've got the Telegram CEO. And I was thinking about that as well, the Telegram CEO. And even if he doesn't comply and they put him in prison, what they're talking 10 to 20 years, they're just going to go after someone else in his organization. I just don't think they're going to stop here. They're going to go after the next person, whether that's whoever sits under him. I just think they're going to keep going after them all until one of them caves in and gives all the access. It's a bizarre one we're living in. So this is what they're saying then. Two figures backing former President Trump shared a clip from an interview Harris had with CNN in 2019, where she blasted social media sites for directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight and regulation, something she says has to stop. Translation: if they don't police content to conform to government-approved narratives, they will be shut down, Kennedy said, characterizing Harris's statements from the 5-year-old clip. And Elon Musk is in another argument with a New York Times writer after the writer said that the US Constitution can be considered one of the biggest threats to the country. Again, it's like 1984, they're just flipping the truth, flipping everything around. They said the United States Constitution is in trouble due to the fact that Trump was able to be elected in the first place. This is all... One of the biggest threats to America's politics might be the country's founding document. I mean, this is all really, really, really bizarre stuff. I don't know what's going on today. There's a lot of weird things taking place, a lot of negative energy in the air, I feel, this week with some of the news I've seen, some of the research I've been doing, some of the... I'll just say there's some very strange things going on this week. I don't know if you're noticing it. There's just something, I can't quite put my finger on it. There's just something going on. There's a lot of very negative stuff happening. And rather than addressing it, it's being flipped on its head. So we're told that the truth is a lie, and we're being given lies and being told that they're the truth. I don't know. Drop in the comments your thoughts on this. But as always, thank you so much for being a subscriber here and being online. Take care. God bless you and your families, and I will see you tomorrow.